I'll just say a few words about my financial being, describe it to you as best as I can, and then talk about the insights that I received. So, first of all, in terms of my financial existence, I'm 71, pushing 72. I'm not retired. I'm also not employed. I've worked for myself almost all of my career since I left Harvard the first time in 1987, and until, let's say, I came back and worked for 4 more years at Harvard Business School teaching. But other than that, I've been basically without salary, except for the salary that I paid myself from companies that I founded or use as entities. I make about an investment every month and a half or two, maybe more on the average. And I have an active portfolio of about 25 or 26 companies, and they're all impossible to value. Insights I received from working with Bob. The first one was understanding the riskiness of my portfolio. My balance sheet is was extraordinarily risky. I should back up and say that with Bob and Chris, I went through a very extensive exercise. And this for me was probably the biggest insight. And to look at goals in terms of liabilities. I want to paying out the non-reportable or non-reported gift maximum or less to my kids is something I want to do. But framing that in terms of a liability is a big aha. We're using the methodology and I guess Bob and Chris in the background using the software. We created a liability stack, which sort of rated the liabilities in terms of the riskiness. And then the second part of that, there's my term liability stack, I think, but putting next to that the asset stack and understanding that there has to be a match between the assets and the liabilities. I discovered along the way something, and because of Bob and Chris, something called a cash balance plan. Plan that you can set up that basically shields a huge, basically unlimited amount of income from taxes so that you can really reduce your tax. I could really reduce my tax burden significantly and increase in the asset stack, increase that part of the asset stack that'll cover my more important liabilities going forward. And then the last comment that I think I have to make, and it's a very practical one, is the notion of loafing assets. And that is the assets that I have that are not being used productively. And for example, I have a lot of real estate that's unleveraged. And one of the issues, and we're still grappling with this, there's a work in progress, is to understand how those loafing assets or those assets can be converted into cash that can be used in more productive channels, in more productive ways. I think that loafing assets will be the ninth wonder of the world, and converting those or readjusting those assets to be much more productively used. I mean, I thought not having debt was a good thing, but it probably is a bad thing in certain situations.